sort of assessing everything that they do in practice before
Absolutely.
making a determination, even at this late juncture?
Sure do, because it's the performances have been uneven a little bit, so you can judge it on games, which is a large part of it, and then also in practices. So we'll figure out who's starting here. Maybe it may be determined during the week in practice, but it may take it all the way up to game time. And I'm not trying to be coy and trying to hide anything from them. We're truly evaluating it.
Do you think that has hurt the team in any way, the fact that you haven't really been able to just lock in on one guy and say, this is our guy?
I've had this before. I mean, really, what's hurt the team is when we don't execute, and that's not always on the quarterback. So sometimes you look at that guy, but sometimes there's a lot of factors involved. So what's hurt us is that we haven't played or executed well, and it starts with us coaching.
You mentioned yesterday that the field position this season has just been consistently bad. What are some of the factors that have played into that?
I think it's not one thing which would be not easily fixed, but easily to identify, but it's part of it special teams. We haven't kicked it as well at times. They've kicked really well and pinned us in times. It's been partly turnovers, because turnovers not only, obviously create field position for your offense and helps your defense as well. And we haven't gotten any of those hardly at all year, which has been another point of contention. So I think it's been a number of factors.
How much have you, with the special teams, have you evaluated your punt return and the aspect of guys being more aggressive to catch the ball versus letting it?
Well, it hasn't been. When a guy, we've had a couple games, when a guy hits it over your head inside the 10, you're not supposed to field it. You're going to field it on the 5. Doesn't make any sense. So, the decisions from fielding have been pretty good. It's just, it's been remarkable how many of those have been stopped on the 1 or 2, 3 yard line. It's just a good play by their punters.
So your yards per play this season are kind of on par with what it has been throughout your tenure here. Is the field position kind of playing into why maybe that's not translating into points?
I didn't look at that. It's interesting you say that, because I thought it was about the same, but I hadn't looked at the numbers. But there's no question that's why the field position has been. And we haven't finished a few drives as well. That's been part of it. But the lack of 3 and outs, the lack of turnovers, the lack of finishing drives, the poor field position, all that leads to negative outcomes offensively, and that's we got to fix that.
Do you have guys on staff who look at like some of those, I guess what you'd call advanced statistics these days, like average points expected based on your starting position, stuff like that?
You don't really it's common sense. I've looked at, there's been charts made forever, and it's obviously common sense stuff about where your chances of scoring and where you start drives and all that, and that just goes, it means if you start, you got to go 80 yards, there's a lot more plays usually to score and a lot more chances for mistakes, and when you're on the 25 going in, there's less plays you have to get to score. So it's pretty obvious. I don't have to look at it, but just say, oh, okay, we need a bit better field position. How do we do that? And that's the key to getting it done.
So when you watch Freddie Tagaloa, he's obviously got a different body than a lot of the other offensive linemen. His athleticism is pretty off the charts for a lineman. Why do you think he's just not been able to put it all together here?
He's been banged out quite a bit. I think he's not been really healthy for most of the year, and that's been part of it. And so that hurts. And he's obviously a big guy, and he works really hard. Athleticism, I think he's on par with everybody else. I don't know if it's way off the charts for that, but he loves football, but he needs to be healthy like everybody else. And when he wasn't healthy, he wasn't himself.
Rich, Demetrius has been pretty solid for you this season, but it just seemed like maybe he was a step slow in coverage on Saturday. Was it just?
I don't know if it is slow. I think maybe some late in recognition in some of it, and some of it was frankly we're. We got guys hanging on man coverage, and we ain't getting home. The quarterback got too much time. When you send blitz, it's hard to guard somebody all day out there in the secondary.
Is it going to be hard at all this week, do you think, for the guys to keep their focus on Oregon State with the ASU game looming next week?
With our poorly as we've been playing, and we hadn't won in so long, I would hope not.
between the guys that got redshirting and recruits coming in, do you like where the defensive line is heading in terms of the talent and
Yeah,
bodies
a
they
lot
bring?
of our issues obviously were some mistakes in recruiting, and that goes on us as coaches. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. So, and that was at all positions, but particularly defensively. When we're starting maybe 4 or 5 walk-ons or former walk-ons right now in this game, that's it's good for them, but it also means we've probably either made some mistakes or had some bad luck injury-wise. I think it's been a combination of both.
How much have you changed your philosophy at all in targeting defensive linemen? Or
I don't know if it's changed a lot because I've always thought we needed to overload with that, but we haven't been able to. And there's some of it, again, was just either a mistake or bad luck injury-wise. But going forward, that's going to be addressed, a lot, everywhere defensively. But in our front, our linebacker and our D lineman, we've got to overstock, and we've got to find guys that can probably help us right away. That doesn't necessarily mean junior college guys, there's high school guys, and we think we're doing that.